as we take you into the dressing room of WBO featherweight champ Prince Naseem Hamed, awaiting his unification bout with the veteran Tom Boom Boom Johnson. And as you look at Hamed, you wonder just how good is he? Yes, he's only 22. He's undefeated. He's known for his speed and power. But tonight, his biggest test, even though Johnson isn't in the prime of his career, is Hamed a one-hit wonder, a Camacho wannabe, or can he genuinely bring superstar status to boxing in England? Tonight, he gets a major opportunity to back up his bravado in the ring. Denying the flamboyant style and remarkable showmanship of WBO featherweight champion Prince Naseem Hamed.
I'm never going to get beat. I refuse to lose, blatantly. I ain't losing nothing.
Or ignoring his brash confidence, flashy fighting skills, and his superstar status in his native England.
I'm carrying the torch for Britain, you know.
Since beginning his boxing career at the age of 7 at this gym in the town of Sheffield, Hamed has compiled a perfect 24-0 record.
That's a wicked record, isn't it? The way it just sounds. 24, 24, 22 knockouts. There's going to be 25 wins, 23 knockouts. It sounds great, doesn't it?
Despite his great-sounding record, some critics believe he has not faced the toughest of competition. They wonder if his extravagant lifestyle and multi-million-pound endorsement deals may prevent this prince from becoming king of the featherweight.
After everything what's happened, what I've earned, what I've accumulated, you know, no matter how much I win, my feet are firmly on the floor.
Yet many of the questions they ask about Hamed, the true extent of his skills, the measure of his heart, will be answered tonight as he meets his sternest test, Tom Boom Boom Johnson.
He's the best featherweight American champion ever. And to me, cool. I'll go and destroy him, and I just can't wait because I feel that it's a time to show everybody that this is truly the start of the legend, the start of Prince Naseem.
Every time Hamed steps into the ring, he reportedly earns $400,000 in endorsements through various British sponsors. If Tom Johnson has his way, this could be a very expensive night for the Prince. Here at the London Arena, Hamed's backyard, the fans anxiously await the main event. And Ferdy, how do Hamed and Johnson stack up against the great featherweights of the past?
Well, and Johnson is well into his career. He's not achieved greatness yet. Hamed is just starting. You can't even begin. When you start with his last half of the century, Willie Pep, Sandy Saddler, the best there ever was. You just can't compare with him. Then you come a little bit later, and you got gentlemen Alexis Arguello, the great professor, Zuma Nelson. Those are great featherweights. And an asterisk, Aaron Pryor could have been the featherweight of all time had he not fallen to the drug habit. And Salvador Sanchez, a premature death, an early death. He could have been a great one. But could they compare to them? Not right now. The Prince is learning, is yet to be tested. Tonight we'll know whether he's got any stuff in him. And as much as I love Boom Boom Johnson, he's not quite in that calorie.
All right, and how about the ring styles of the two Bobby Ches? They're about as dramatically different as their personalities.
They certainly are, Steve, and this one stacks up on paper to be a potential great one, maybe for years to come. One of the fights of the year, it has to be. These two guys are diametrically opposed in all positions. One is, it's almost like Ali Frazier in the States, albeit they're not heavyweights, they're smaller weights, featherweights, but they can bang. Outwardly braggadocio, the Prince is just a crazy man. He swears no one in history could have ever beaten him or will ever. Tom Johnson, a blue-collar hard worker, technically correct at all aspects of the game, good puncher, good boxer. It's much like Ali Frazier won. It's great hype. It's terrific here.
Quickly, what do you expect?
What I expect is Tom Johnson try and get some respect, trying to stop Naseem from jumping around going crazy. Try to get his respect and whack him right away. Let him worry a little bit, and then let the fight unfold. But I think in a long, hard, tough fight, Johnson by decision.
All right, we're closing in on this highly anticipated showdown of Big Fuss over two little men here in London. The fight to unify the featherweight championship. And we're awaiting the ring walks of Johnson and Hamed as this crowd gets jazzed up once again. They've dimmed the lights. They've got the music blaring. They've got the lasers all over the place, and ready or not, here comes Tom Boom Boom Johnson, the IBF featherweight champion. The big welcome here in London. He says, hey, I've never fought a guy like Hamed. He's never fought a guy like Johnson.
Oh, and he's got it. Orlando goes down. He's just too smart, Johnson. He's making business mysteries and then body punches, mixing it up to head of body. Another right hand. And a right hand there.
Johnson feeling that Hamed is a British media creation. They've created a monster. His rock star image won't mean anything in the ring. He said he'll try almost anything. Roughhouse tactics, I mean real street stuff against Hamed. We'll find out if this is a catch-22 for Johnson. If he wins, people will say, hey, so what? He beat a young kid with little experience. If he loses, he's old and tired. He reportedly receives $1 million for tonight. His biggest payday to date was $175,000. He's been down only twice in his career against Jose Badillo and Ever Bolaño. The professional, Tom Johnson, gets down and prays in a hostile environment here in London, England. But trying to tune it all out as he awaits the theatrical arrival of Prince Naseem Hamed.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, making his way to the ring, introducing the WBO featherweight champion of the world, Prince Naseem Hamed.
Naseem Hamed ready to take center stage on this, the biggest stage of his career.
It's funny he falls down his road.
have to wonder what effect this has on the mind of Tom Johnson. Tonight we find out if he's more flash or more substance. Everything about Hamed is loud, from his entrances to his costumes to his mouth. But is he underestimating Tom Johnson, a fighter of vast experience? He does have extraordinary power for a man his size as he struts and dances his way in. Sellout crowd of 12,500 in London. And he will do his typical circus-like flip over the ropes. Tom Johnson bouncing to the beat of the music provided for Hamed. A lot of stopping and starting by Naseem Hamed. Doesn't seem to be, at least outwardly, bothering Johnson. Hamed predicts a third-round knockout. Johnson just predicted a knockout. Bobby, if you were Tom Johnson waiting in the ring for a man like Hamed, what would be going through your mind?
Well, you know, basically, if I'm Tom Johnson, I think Hamed's wasting a lot of his time, his energy, and his attention. But Hamed, he's just getting his hype going. He's doing what he does.
And here comes the patented flip. Get ready. He's right above us. And for our sakes, let's hope he makes a clean landing.
I hope he doesn't kick me in the teeth.
So it only took about a week and a half, but Prince Naseem Hamed is finally there in the ring. Let's check the numbers, the tail of the tape. The biggest disparity in age, with Hamed 10 years younger than Johnson. Johnson's biggest advantage, the reach, 5-inch reach advantage, could be a factor as Hamed likes to dive in. They'll go by a compromise of rules for this partial unification. Scoring under the 10-point must system. 3 judges will score the fight. No standing 8 count. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. Only the referee can stop the fight. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell except in the last round. If an accidental foul occurs before the end of the 6th round, the fight is ruled a technical draw. If it happens after the end of round 6, they go to the scorecards. Incomplete rounds not scored. So we are standing by here at the London Arena in London, England, as we close in on our main event. Prince Naseem Hamed versus Tom Boom Boom Johnson. They finally square off for the IBF and WBO Unification Featherweight Championship. Right now, let's get the official introductions from our ring announcer, the classy Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we continue with our action at this time, we ask you to please be upstanding for the playing of the national anthems. We bring to your attention that both boxers in the ring request your courtesy and respect to their opponent's national anthem. We now present the anthems of the United States and Great Britain. Ladies and gentlemen in attendance, boxing fans joining us across the UK on Sky Sports, and sports fans joining us around the world, we welcome you to the London Arena for the featured attraction of the evening, brought to you by Frank Warren Sports Network in association with Don King Productions, as sponsored by Adidas, ART, and The Sun. This bout coming away is sanctioned by the International Boxing Federation, the President Robert Lee, Senior Supervisor Robert Lee Jr., and the World Boxing Organization President and Supervisor in attendance Francisco Valcarcel, along with the British Boxing Board of Control. The steward in charge is John Clifford. Our physician at ringside, Dr. Paul Banwell, timekeeper at the bell, Ray Rice. Introducing to you our judges, scoring this bout from ringside, Al DeVito, Michael Ortega, and Victor Salamon. Presenting to you our referee in charge of this bout, working in this his 74th world title bout, Rudy Battle. All right, fans, here we go with the main event of the evening, the bout you've all been waiting for. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, it is showtime! With the IBF WBO Featherweight Championship of the World, scheduled 12 rounds of boxing. Presenting to you the world champion on my left, fighting out of the red corner. Entering the ring, wearing black trunks with red trim, fighting out of Detroit, Michigan, by way of Evansville, Indiana, in the United States. He weighed in at 8 stone, 13 and a half pounds, or 125 and 1/2 U.S. pounds. With a record of 44 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws, he has 26 of his wins coming by way of knockout tonight. Making the 12th defense of his title, here he is, ladies and gentlemen, a true warrior of boxing, the IBF Featherweight Champion of the World, Tom Boom Boom Johnson. And his opponent across the ring, the world champion on my right, fighting out of the blue corner, entering the ring wearing his leopard trunks, hailing from his hometown of Sheffield, England, and proudly representing his heritage of Yemen. His weight, 9 stone even, right at the limit of 126 U.S. pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign of the ring, 24 wins, no losses, 22 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, making the 5th defense of his title, here is one of boxing's young sensations, the colorful and explosive, undefeated WBO Featherweight Champion of the World, Prince Naseem Muhammad. Once again, our referee in charge, Rudy Battle, now to give instructions.
Camera's straight.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, you're supposed to receive your pre-fight instructions. I expect a clean fight at all times. I want a clean break. Watch your heads, watch your low blows. I wish you both good luck. Let's touch gloves. Good luck to you. All right.
At first, Hamed and his people were against having Rudy battle because he's from the United States, but then they gave in. Hamed, he said there's no way on earth he can lose this fight. He's going to shut some mouths. Those who wonder, what if he gets hit? He said you can't hit what you can't see. Johnson told us he'll try anything, whatever it takes, even if it's outside the rules, to win this fight. Is a fist in the offing? We'll find out. Here we go. Round 1 scheduled for 12. And immediately Hamed comes out. As a southpaw, he's a natural southpaw. He likes to switch. And Johnson told us that if he fights at southpaw, a knockout for TJ, Tom Johnson will come even faster. We shall see. The crowd immediately getting behind Hamed. They offered up some polite applause to Johnson upon his introduction.
Johnson's going to box smart, and I'll tell you what, guys, you may never hear this from me again, but this is a fight I don't even want to talk. I want to sit here and just watch. I'm so excited about it. Johnson's a smart veteran. He's going to try and take the kid to school, but this is not just an ordinary kid, so he's got his work cut out for him.
Who will dictate at the start? Hamed most effective when his opponent chases him because he can use his speed to stay out of trouble and counter punch. Look for him to try to make Johnson miss and make a mistake. Johnson in the center of the ring, not running after Hamed.
Well, he said he wasn't going to get caught up in his style of fighting. He's going to settle it down to his style of fighting. Johnson didn't say he wanted to hit him any place. He didn't want to hit him in the head. He'll hit him in the gloves. He'll hit him anywhere.
All right, break,
the shoulders.
no wrestling.
And so,
step back clean. That's
what we
it.
got is a cagey champion and a floaty.
Straight left by Hamed, the first big punch of the fight here, round one.
See, what's incredibly hard to anticipate is the quickness, the reflexes, and the unorthodox style and angle that a punch comes from, which is what Hamed offers, and you just don't see it coming. You don't expect it from an angle. He could bend over and throw upward sideways. It's really awkward.
He's so undisciplined, so unorthodox, so difficult to prepare for, although Johnson said this one no different than any other fight to prepare for. Relatively easy, in fact, he told us, as we approach the final minute of the first.
And Hamed, in his splendid candor, as he always has, said, I prepare for this fight the same as I do every fight. I don't have any specific pre-fight thoughts. I prepare to react. He'll react. He's a reactive fighter to whatever Tom Johnson does, and just win the fight. He said he could beat everybody now and everybody that's ever lived in the featherweight division. He is really a confident kid.
Up to this point, it's been nothing. I mean, the hype has been everything, and right now it's very quiet as they both give each other a lot of respect.
Now look out now, some wrestling tactics, and that really ticks off Johnson, and he has some words for Hamed.
That's what Hamed wants. Johnson should fall into that trap. That's what he wants, to discombobulate him, get him mad. That's his fight.
Final 20 seconds of the opening round, a lot of posing.
Yeah.
What Tom Johnson has to do here, he has to keep his hands tight, just bend his knees a little bit and drop the straight right hand down the pipe when Hamed dives in the way Alisea did. Alisea did it more by accident than by design. Tom needs to do it by design, and he'll start to get to this kid.
As the only time Hamed was down a couple of times against Alisea.
To do the gum shield now. Have a little drink this time. Relax yourself. Just concentrate and just relax yourself.
Keep turning. You're going to catch one of them shots. Just keep trying. Right. Keep trying, okay?
Yeah. Round two. Okay.
Always looking for something back.
Right.
Okay? All right.
10 seconds.
Ain't nothing there. Ain't nothing there, boom. Don't be careless. Always come low, baby.
Bonzel Johnson giving Johnson confidence in his corner, telling him Hamed has nothing. Round two. Hamed said that Johnson will wind up in the graveyard, which was a particularly inappropriate statement 2 years ago this month. This was the very ring where Gerald McClellan became permanently disabled by Nigel Benn.
You know, when Naseem said the third round is the knockout, it won't go 3 full rounds. I didn't believe that was possible. And I didn't believe it was possible for Evander to knock out Mike Tyson. But what you see here is not what I think Naseem got is a little different Tom Johnson than he was expecting. He expected more rage, more fire, more come at him. And he can't set him up with his own momentum. Now he's got to work his own way in. A little more difficult for the Prince.
Well, I don't see anything happening that first round. It was an even round. I hate even rounds. Nobody did anything to either one. Right now they're starting the same way. I mean, they're both so into trying to figure each other out that nothing is happening.
Yeah, more punches landed in one round of either of our earlier fights than might connect this entire bout the way things are going.
Well, I have a feeling this is going to explode.
Well, the flip side, unfortunately, to fights that are greatly anticipated and hyped is that they can be chess matches when two great fighters match minds as well as bodies, and we have one right now.
Well, he's certainly not fighting with his wild, out-of-control style, Hamed, and Johnson's certainly fighting to his ultra-conservative style that he has. I mean, he's gone to the maximum. He's really conservative.
Hamed showing a little more respect than we're accustomed to seeing too, don't you think? I mean, usually talks, taunts, dances.
There's no fire. There's no originality. There's no spark to him like he's been in the past. Maybe he just changed up on you, buddy.
He was frustrated by Manuel Medina a couple of fights ago, even though he won the fight. He claims he had a chest cold, and he said he hoped that's the tape that Johnson watched.
See, his reflexes are so good. His balance is so well put together. He can jump and leap from one toe halfway bent over and spring forward to the other side of his body and still throw punches from both sides. And while he's making the leap, he really is a great person of great balance.
He just comes at you from all angles, but he does get careless, as we saw against Medina and we saw against Alisea, and Johnson seems to be just waiting for that right moment to take advantage.
What I see here too, if Johnson would stop just ducking, but just not necessarily duck those punches, but every time you see the Prince leap in like that, just crouching cover and bang back. You got to fire back. You have to react. When he doesn't react, he'll lose this round.
Hamed getting the crowd into it with those backhanded right hands, and then comes in with a left, but it didn't do any damage. Now combination and counter punching is Johnson.
Johnson waiting to nail him with a right when he comes in like that. He's got the right idea. It's just that incredible reflex that the Prince has got to miss that.
Johnson, I see him rocking on it too, Freddie. I'm sorry, Steve.
Just Johnson showing a lot of patience here, waiting for the moment.
All right, good work, baby. Good work. Take your time on this, chop. All right? All right, don't fall for that okey doke. What are you doing, Boone? He's trying to catch you coming in. Right. You got to shorten up on your hook, okay? Right. And look, when you throw your punches, be looking for something back. Right. All right? You got this guy when you want him. You know, he doing this okey doke, so it don't mean nothing. You just time it, counter. But you got to count a little quicker for me. Right. Okay? Right. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep that jab working. Look, he's coming, he's lunging. You see jab.
That's what it sounds, Raza. Just keep the pressure off him. Just keep it tight. Don't drop your hands in distance. You know, you hit him with the stop counter, the stop counter, the stop counter, and then hit him with a delayed counter. Got it, yeah. Listen, clap. That's right.
Again, they don't allow for sound in the corners here in England. They've been kind enough, the trainers, to be mic'd by our crack staff. Brendan Eagle in the corner of Hamed, Vangel Johnson in the corner of Tom Johnson. Tom Johnson, normally a very cautious starter, slow starter. Excellent defense. He said he'll go after it when he wants to.
See, all that jumping around Naseem does takes energy. He uses up some of his legs, he's jumping, springing. Every time he misses with those big shots, it takes the same amount of energy to stop that punch. What I think Tom Johnson should do, put his hands up tight and what we call slow walk him down. Keep body pressure on and just keep coming to him. There he threw a couple of big shots, but the Prince will lean back. He'll make them be minimal, if at all.
Left hook by Tom Johnson, and because Hamed was leaning back, he didn't feel the full effect, fortunately for him.
You can see Tom Johnson now looking to lean back and rock with the right hand. Yeah, because he's going to use that jab and rock that right hand back and fire out the pipe.
The Prince's jab is not a thing of wonder either. I mean, it's kind of a sloppy thing, and he should be able to hit a right hand over that jab. Of course, again, you keep reiterating the reflexes. You're so right. I mean, it looks like you could hit him, but then he gets back real fast.
Normally, Johnson looks to make his opponents pay when they miss, but he's up against the crafty young Naseem Hamed here. Very difficult to catch him because of his elusiveness.
I think Johnson's making a mistake by moving and letting Naseem walk forward. To let him get braver, let him conserve energy. This is the round, after all, that Naseem predicted he'd knock out Johnson, which I thought was impossible for him to do. Johnson's just too smart to get caught in that kind of fight. But once again, Johnson cannot win this fight going backwards. Okay? I mean, he can, but it's not going to be to his advantage. He needs to pressure the kid and push him.
Wild swing and a miss, and again, the elusive Hamed able to shake it clear.
Johnson with a couple of clean shots there. You got Johnson a little bit hurt, but Johnson's a good pro.
Now Johnson looking to come back, but Johnson continues to get nailed.
Johnson's in trouble too.
He looks a little dazed. A little dazed.
And a little confused. He doesn't know how to handle all that.
Oh, a heavy, ferocious right hand by Hamed to the head of Johnson. And he continues to unload.
Well, I'll tell you what, Johnson right now needs to just hold on and weather the storm. Because I'll tell you what, 25 seconds is going to be forever now.
Johnson tackles Hamed.
And he's rocky. Johnson's rocky on his legs.
Oh, Hamed looking to make the third round knockout prediction come to fruition.
And he's very close because the champion Johnson is rocky on old legs. He's had a lot of fights. He's only 32, but he's had a lot of fights.
Oh! By Johnson.
That was a knockdown.
Hamed didn't go down. He just barely.
It was a knockdown. His glove hit the canvas.
Is that a knockdown?
Rudy Battle is not making any indication whether it's a knockdown or not.
If it's a knockdown, it's a completely even round. If it isn't, then it's a big round for the Prince.
You hurt him with the right hand. Look, you're coming too wide with everything. Yeah. Everything got to tighten up for me now. You got to close up and bring that stuff down the middle. You got to bring your counters down the middle. Boom. Tuck the chin. You got your head up a little bit.
Let's look at Johnson getting in trouble first. He got in trouble because he got swarmed and he didn't quite land his counter punch, and the Prince is on top of him trying to make his prediction come true. He's forcing the action and landing rather well.
And here you'll see the very end of the round. Watch this right hand. He just slips, he rocks off it. Bang. And his glove right there touches the ground. That is a knockdown. His glove touched the ground.
You're right. It should have been a knockdown. Let's see how round 4 begins, coming off of that wild finish to round 3. As Naseem Hamed was definitely, from our vantage point, knocked down because his glove touched the canvas. But it was not ruled an official knockdown. And boy, has it gotten quiet here in the London arena. A lot of steam went out of Johnson's legs in the final minute of round 3 under that barrage of punches. But Tom Johnson then came back. That could have been a 2-point round.
Tom Johnson's legs are not under him, Steve.
Here we go again.
Tom Johnson's holding on for dear life, and whether you call it father time or Hamed's unbelievable timing and reflexes, Johnson cannot take these punches the rest of the day.
Oh, Johnson is waving.
Now Hamed is taunting Johnson. The roughhouse tactics continue. Oh, look out now. Johnson is on wobbly legs. Tom Johnson. Can he weather this?
Well, the Prince must really have a big cannon for a punch because he is just standing there waiting for one punch, and when he lands it, it gets Johnson in trouble. In big trouble.
He has landed with some explosive punches. A smiling Hamed backs away.
Hamed's just having fun. He's just making a joke out of this.
I've never seen anybody make it look so easy, effortless, and be cruel in doing it.
He's looking at Johnson as if to say, are you feeling my power now? An illegal backhand there by Hamed that went unnoticed by Rudy Battle.
He's making a big mistake if he thinks Johnson can't punch.
Johnson just got his legs back under him a little bit. I can see his eyes cleared a little more now. He's trying to work that right hand, but he's just reacting too slow, and he's keeping his head up in the air way too high.
Well, he's building himself back up, but boy, he's got a long way to come, Bobby, because he was on the verge of a knockout. He was waving in the ring.
Crowd trying to get behind Hamed under a minute to go in round 4.
Up to this point, handling Johnson easily. I mean, who would have thought he was going to handle a guy with this much experience this easy? Just barely punching. I mean, he throws 1 or 2 punches and he has great effect with it.
All right, break out, you wrestlers. Stop moving.
No more wrestling, says Rudy Battle. Oh, a lunging left hook to the midsection by Hamed. Hamed hitting and holding.
Perfect example of what I was talking about. If Tom Johnson, instead of trying to duck that, just dipped a little bit and tore a hook in, he catches Naseem on the way in, and he feels the effects as opposed to what's been happening to Johnson. You have to time those things, and some of them are going to be blind.
Bobby, I think this round he's just glad that he's still alive all the way through it. I mean, he started this round rocky, and he's getting himself back together slowly. He's looking better and better and better. I think next round he's going to start to put those things in effect.
And there's the bell to end round 4.
Look. Boom. Your counter's got to be a little shorter. Your punches coming too wide. Okay? Shorten them up. Shorten them up. Okay? Shorten them up for me, baby. Shorten him up for me now. This guy's pot shot you with one punch. You should never be hitting with one punch like that. Hands up.
Okay. Okay, baby.
Hands up and stay tight now. Still, okay? Stay tight.
Keep your eye focused on the legs of Johnson. Watch how they just can't stand up under him. I mean, he is so weakened that the best he can do is a football move there, Bobby.
Yeah, you know, that's your basic out-and-out tackle. He's trying to hold on to get himself back together, and if tackle it needs to be, is tackle what it was.
He did a bad thing. Hamed, the Prince just took the referee's hand off his chest, like knocked it off. You don't do that to a referee, especially not a tough one like Woody Battle.
Round 5, a third of the fight gone. Naseem Hamed clearly in control early. Tom Johnson looking to regroup. Johnson doing more of the dancing now. Little stutter step move. And Hamed looking the more subdued of the two.
Right now, Tom Johnson looks a little confused, and certainly he must be. He's been hit with some heavy punches and got hurt early. There's a nice left hook, but not what started out being Johnson's punches. That was partial.
A wide left hook by Tom Johnson. Vonzell Johnson, his trainer, wants him to shorten up those punches.
But nothing on it. See, nothing on it. That's why he wants it short. He's getting hit by short shots.
And again, there's that backhand move. I'm surprised he's not being warned about that, Hamed.
Yeah, he plays too much. Referee should stop that.
Johnson lining up a straight right hand with the left jab, but not enough power behind the punch. Crowd seeming very low-key, very almost tentative right now, and they're cheering.
Well, I think they expected an explosion here after these last two fights we had, which were blazing fights, and this is a chess game with one guy way ahead right now. He's won every round.
Not only that, but I think they expected more of an even brawl to start, but now that it got one-sided, they expect Naseem to come in and finish it off, and he's not really making any attempts at getting the job done and closing the show.
Steve Collins, you saw in the lower corner from our friends from East Sky BTV.
No wrestling. Turn him loose. Let him go.
Whole production.
Stop holding. Stop holding.
Incredible that Shamrock's already grown out.
Less than a minute remaining in round 5. The IBF and WBO Featherweight Championship. Got off to a blazing start, Hamed dominating, but things have simmered down a bit now. Once again, Johnson going back to the jab, trying to get into a rhythm and working everything off the jab. And now holding and hitting, continues to hit, goes to the roughhouse tactic.
Actually, Naseem was holding and Johnson's allowed to hit. It was a body shot, it was clean. The head shot was clean.
But Johnson was holding him as well. It seemed like a mutual situation.
You're allowed to hit with that.
Well, here comes Hamed again, combination to the head. Oh, look out, he walked into one.
That's what Johnson's been trying to do all night, but he's been winding up too wide with the shot.
Johnson nearly tagged Hamed right flush on the face.
Johnson coming on now. Boy, there's murder in his eyes now.
Final seconds of round 5.
This is a different Johnson now.
Tom Johnson with confidence.
Deep breathe up. Are you all right? Deep breathe. Give us a little drink. Just figure it out now. You all right? Just deep breathe. Just breathe. All right? Chill out. No, all right, leave, man. All right. Leave it. Get your breath. Deep breathe. Fill up. You're trying too hard. Just the jab, the jab, the jab. Can you catch him going? Deep breathe. All right. Deep breathe. Right up. Come on.
Here's what you call walking into a punch. Boom, a little bit more, and his knee touches the canvas, and that would have been the second knockdown of the fight, because according to Bobby and I, he got knocked down the first time.
Well, the glove did hit the ground the first time, and yes, that's what Johnson's been trying to do. He's been trying to time that shot, but he's winding up with it. He can't wind up. He just got to kind of lower his shoulders and drive it.
You know, he looked lost there in round 2, 3, and 4. All of a sudden, he got himself together. At the end of this round, he looked like he had great purpose, like he was coming on.
Hamed averages 3.7 rounds. This is round 6, and Tom Johnson undoubtedly giving Hamed problems. It's extremely quiet here now. in Hamed's backyard. Nash walking right into a big right with about 20 seconds left in the last round. Hamed in the leopard skin and Johnson bouncing around in the black trunks with the red and white trim.
He's got to pick up that pepper that he had at the last round when he was coming on and his eyes turned on the killer. When he said, okay, I'm coming now.
Look at Johnson now dancing around, showing the movement, looking very, very sharp all of a sudden.
Yeah, I think he's doing a little too much moving though, Steve, and I don't think it helps him in the energy department. I think all it will do is deplete his energy. He's still trying to look and find. He's trying to outsmart and counter the leads of Named, but not right now. It's not working.
He tries to pace himself at 32, but a sense of urgency here against the 22-year-old Hamed.
He's got to attack. He's got to, like he did at the end of the round, he's got to attack to keep the Prince from initiating action. If the Prince is going back and counter-punching, he's got a much better chance if he sits back here and waits for the Prince to invent one of those punches from left field.
It usually takes several rounds before Johnson gets down to business, but he can't waste any time against Hamed.
He's not that far behind now. He won that last round. The first round was even.
Part of Johnson's thinking may be perhaps, hey, if I can get Naseem Hamed into the later rounds, might have something here. Look out, a straight right hand by Johnson that sent Hamed his head back.
Naseem shook it off pretty well. He got staggered, not really staggered, but he got his attention for a second. Then he smiled and shook it off. And Tom didn't follow up, so that would tell you that Tom doesn't think he did any real damage either.
Oh, a straight right. Oh, what a shot. A power punch by Tom Johnson. Hamed comes back dancing and invites Johnson in, taunting him.
You see, Johnson said, I don't have a fight plan. I have a plan to fight. That's what he told us, and that's what he's doing. He's fighting when the opportunity presents itself. It's not exactly a fight plan here, but he's doing all right this round again.
He is adapting very well here to the Prince.
As long as he attacks, the Prince is at a loss to launch an attack.
Calling me silly, but Tom's doing better from the outside. I thought his better fight would be on the inside. Right now, it isn't. It's from the outside, and that's a pirouette, which is illegal.
A spinorama by Tom Johnson that can be dangerous, particularly against a guy like that.
Oh, look how he leans back. He's inviting a right hand. Another right hand. See, he's getting closer with that right hand as the Prince pulls back. Twice he's nailed him with it. A couple more and he wins a big
round for Tom Johnson.
Big round for Johnson.
Beautiful boxing.
Get it in behind him.
Beautiful boxing. Now listen to me. Listen to me. You're keeping the left hand up better now. He's jumping in with that crap and you're catching him. Now keep doing this for me. Keep your chin down and keep checking it. Keep your turning them, okay? Now look, you shorten up a little bit more for me. Beat him with it. You catch him coming in, you're making him miss you now, but I want you to hit him with something.
All right, here's that offensive action we're talking about where Johnson's got the solution with the right hand. Boom, there's that right hand. Now a couple of more of those in that round, and this guy's going to be counting canvas. Bobby.
Yeah, see what he needs to do, though, he needs to catch him on the wing. What Naseem does real well is he leans back. See, he started to lean back just a split second before the right hand, taking some of the power and steam off that right hand. If he can catch him on a leap in like that, that's when they hit the floor.
Bam, right, short hook, and then hands up.
Round 7.
Tom Johnson is a true champion, a true pro. Hamed, he's got to take it from Tom Johnson. Johnson's not going to go quietly. Two big rights by Johnson in that last round as we enter round 7.
It shouldn't be a question of audience at all, just judges, and the judges, none of them are from England. So it's a possibility, but if it is, watch out for the reaction of this crowd because this is a favorite.
Johnson has really taken this crowd out of it for the most part. The judges from New Jersey, Mexico, and Connecticut. The referee from Philly.
After the third round, where he was severely staggered for the majority of the round, only to score a flash knockdown, which wasn't called by Rudy Battle. The crowd has been pretty much out of it, and I don't really think for Naseem that the crowd is that much of a big deal. He just likes to win. He is just hungry. I've never seen it's like a drug for this kid.
He's 24-0 with 22 knockouts. 5-0 in world title fights.
He's not fighting with the energy and enthusiasm that we've seen him, with the creativity that we've seen him. Well, he is now cautious after those right hands.
Yes, I was just going to say, Tom Johnson has something to do with that.
Oh, yeah.
It was another overhand right by Johnson that just clipped Hamed off the nose.
If we can get a few more of those right hands when he's pulling back after the left jab, it's going to change this guy's way of fighting.
Oh, good defense there by Tom Johnson, who is known as a good defensive fighter. You don't defend your title 11 times by not doing that.
Rudy Battle doing a great job staying out of the way. You don't even see him. You barely see him on your screen. He's out of the way. He's letting these guys fight.
There's that backhand again by Naseem Hamed, which is illegal.
The chess match has continued and resumed. Call it what you like, but both of these men are still trying to figure out what is going to be the most effective as they put those measuring jabs out.
You know, it's not the kind of performance you win a title with. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's not the kind of thing you take a title from. He may take it, but it doesn't look like it to me.
Look at these sharp jabs by Tom Johnson. These shotgun jabs are sending Hamed back, and Hamed looking confused and frustrated, almost like he did against Medina. Misses with the straight right, lands with the straight left, and that startles and staggers Tom Johnson.
Inside, Naseem Dog used those big thighs and bent and sprang up with a left or right uppercut and hurt Johnson.
An exclusion by Hamed, who continues to air it out.
Well, he's got a little bit of time to get it done. He's got a little bit of time to win the title here.
Straight right, then a combination by Naseem Hamed. Hamed working the jab, straight left hand, flush on Johnson's face.
And Tom Johnson will not stop. He keeps coming forward, and he is in trouble.
Final seconds of round 7. Hamed comes forward again, landing with combinations to the head of Tom Johnson. Up against the ropes in his corner. Johnson's in dire trouble now. Hamed continues to unleash. Johnson says, "You didn't hurt me."
Get his legs off. Work his legs. Take it easy. Pull it.
Sorry, man. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
Okay.
Put his arm down.
Put your arms in your lap.
Put his arm down.
Listen.
All right, baby. We're okay. We all right. We all right. Now listen to me. You go on this side with your hands down, son. You got to snap these punches off. Because what you're doing, boy, you're coming with them too slow.
Drop the legs, man.
Close up for me, all right?
Okay. How we doing in here?
Everything's going on very peacefully, and all of a sudden, off this clinch comes a punch, and that gets him in trouble. It's almost right after the clinch. You got to protect yourself at all times, and boy, that's major trouble right there. Major. He almost had the title in his hands for the taking.
Well, I'll tell you, he's well on his way getting the title anyway. He used that left hand up on the inside. He dug it in nice, and he hurt Tom badly.
Here we go into round number 8. Johnson nearly down. 50 seconds left in round 7. Naseem Hamed looking to end it right here.
You gotta watch the Prince all the time. He punches right out of the break, and he punches with power.
And he's deceptively strong, yes.
Yeah, right from the clutch, right from the clinch he punches.
But Johnson, with tremendous heart, continues to come back. He indicated he was not hurt at the end of the round, though his legs tell a different story.
You know, mass time speed is what generates all that force and power. Well, he dives in with his whole body and much quicker than it appears.
Johnson continues to stand on wobbly legs.
Where it looked like he had lost the key to the fight, he has now found it again. And the Prince is leading the dance.
And Johnson looking to hit Hamed on the back of the head like he advertised. Johnson has to be careful not to walk into one of those shots by Hamed. That's what Hamed is hoping for.
Johnson sees hopping too much. Watch his legs. He's doing a little up in the air, a little hop too much. When he gets up in the air and he hops, he's not planted, he's not steady, he's not going to absorb the blows well. He's going to snap his head as he does there.
Combination to the head by Hamed.
I don't think he's in control of his legs anymore. I think the 32 years and the 11 title bouts have a little bit to do with it, but mainly the Prince's power punches have a lot to do with it.
Prince missing with a straight right. Johnson unable to counter. As Hamed looks to be off balance. Hamed with a stinging right uppercut to the jaw of Tom Johnson. A counter right by Tom Johnson. Riddler's watch, but look out. A left hand by Hamed staggers Johnson. Johnson fighting back. Johnson in trouble, though.
Johnson's in serious trouble. He may not finish this round.
Now, this could be the beginning of the end.
A minute to go in round 8. Hamed swarming.
He's fighting back, though.
Johnson is all heart and all champion. But this fight is almost over, fellas. Rudy Battle is looking very close.
The ropes just held Johnson up. Tom Johnson. at 8. 38 seconds to go. Naz's father, and that's it. It's all over. The Prince becomes king for a night in the featherweight division, while a great champion loses for the first time in over 6 years.
Welcome to the big time, Prince, because you earned it this time.
And the crowd erupts here at the London Arena as their Prince does it. His father, Sal, who operates a convenience store here in England, embracing his son, Prince Naseem Hamed. So Hamed has done it. Once again, backs up his words. Although there were a couple of anxious moments.
I don't believe the moments were quite that anxious, Steve. I think he did it in reasonably convincing fashion. I think he made a statement tonight that will be heard many miles away.
They will reverberate, Bobby. This time, the win for Hamed really means something as he defeats the highly regarded Tom Boom Boom Johnson, and now they come together, embrace. Wasn't much of that going on before this fight. There was a lot of trash talk. But, you know, what else is new before a fight? A lot of hype.
I thought the Prince lost his concentration in the middle there when Johnson started to come back with the right hand. As soon as he landed a really good punch, it was all over. I mean, you could see the enthusiasm, you could see the purpose, and all of that left Johnson, and all of it went right into the Prince, and it was all of a sudden one fighter just soundly beating the other. So he really was impressive, and he belongs in the upper weight.
There he is, the third unified champ in boxing today, joining Terry Norris and Virgil Hill. Prince Naseem Hamed. Hearing it from the crowd, he's 25-0 now with 23 knockouts. It's Johnson's first loss by knockout. Tom Johnson now 44-3-2, a truly tremendous champion as he held the title for nearly 4 years through 11 defenses. First loss since November of '91 against Manuel Medina, ending his streak of 19 straight without a loss.
Now let's take a look at the end of the fight, and it was by this time there wasn't a person here that didn't know it was going to be over. And here comes the end of Boom Boom Johnson's featherweight championship career. Down he goes over his championship.
Did you see how he bent with his legs and he sprung forward, throwing full body weight into Johnson, and he timed him perfectly. Johnson was bending, and bang, you watch it again. Watch Naseem bend and dive in. There it is. He bent and he drove. He used great leverage. That is a true power punch uppercut. And unfortunately for Tom Johnson, he walked, or should I say, kind of leaned over right into it.
Yeah, by that time, I don't think he even knew where he was at.
Here's the announcement.
27 seconds of round number 8. A referee in charge, Rudy Battle, stops the contest. The winner by way of technical knockout. He is still undefeated. He has unified the IBF and WBO featherweight championship. He is the world champion, Prince Naseem Hamed.
A mouthful for Jimmy Lennon Jr. as his crowd celebrates. Hamed quiets his critics. Fireworks going off. He perpetuates his image as another belt. And he told us from this point on he wants only to fight for titles as the confetti rains from the ceiling. It's like New Year's Eve here in London. He wants to be the first to be undisputed champion with 4 belts. And this could be Hamed's ticket to Las Vegas, and perhaps even a shot on the May 3rd Holyfield-Tyson rematch card. Who knows? He hopes someday, Bobby, to go up as high as super middleweight, he told me.
Oh, I think that's a little too high, but befitting his character on the Tyson-Holyfield undercard, he said, not as an undercard, but as a co-feature.
Yeah, right. I'm surprised he didn't want top billing.
You know, that is just a undercard. He didn't want to go on the undercard. He wanted to be a co-feature.
He's got to open up more, you know, and show more confidence.
He's got to be a little more humble.
Well, he wants Azuma Nelson, even Oscar De La Hoya. He said in 18 months. Slow down, Prince. You're only 22.
I'd love to see him and De La Hoya fight because of the spectacular nature of the fight. But well, I'll tell you, he is like Ali, one of a kind.
He'd really love to fight in the United States, where he feels he'd be a big hit because of his entertaining approach, his big punch. And with this win, the Prince will really get the royal treatment here in England. That is for sure. There's his father, Sal, alongside the Prince, wearing 2 belts now, WBO and IBF featherweight championships around the body of Prince Naseem Hamed from nearby Sheffield, England. A very proud papa right alongside him there on the left of your screen. Right now, let's go over to Ferdy Pacheco's with Duke Durden of the Tom Johnson camp. Ferdy?
All right, Duke Durden, what were your thoughts as you saw your guy hammered in the corner there?
Well, you know, the kid is a strong puncher, and my kid got a lot of heart, and you know, the younger kid was the better fighter tonight.
Did you think that he thoroughly dominated him? Because at the beginning he looked like he gonged him, and then after a few easy rounds he just seemed like he just came on and took him apart.
Well, you know, like I say, he was the better fighter. We were in great shape and everything, but the better man won tonight.
Duke, your man's 32 years old. At the height of his profession, he won 11 straight title fights. Is this the end for him, or do you keep him fighting?
Well, we'll go to the drawing board and maybe move him up to 130 and see what it's like up there. Or, you know, we might just, you know, pack it in. We'll see.
All right, Duke Durden. Duke Durden, a veteran of the fighting wars for many, many years, had many champions, and it's not your night tonight, Duke.
Hey, you have those nights.
All right, and back to Steve Albert at ringside.
All right, Ferdy, the amazing thing, Bobby Chez, about Tom Johnson is that he's been the same weight since the amateurs, 126. The age process alone should add weight, but tonight was not his night against Prince Naseem Hamed.
Well, you know, here's where we see where he starts to get in trouble in the last round. And he got hit with a clean right hand, and the shots were just landing too clean. Hamed was catching everything on the way in. Everything was landing clean. Well, the uppercut there didn't, but when he eventually gets to him on the ropes, he lands a couple of clean right hands. And Johnson's holding on here. This is just strictly survival. This is not offering up any offense. He's trying to throw his hands out just to keep Prince off him.
Well, at 22, already living like a rock star. His image will be enhanced here tonight with this huge victory over a tremendously respected champion, Tom Johnson.
He's becoming a mini Muhammad Ali with power, and it's almost scary because he brags even worse. Look at that right hand. I mean, he just set that up so simply and walked through it like it was easy, and that is a very beautiful timing shot.
Bobby,
incredible.
It almost boggles the mind that a man who is just 126 pounds could have that much power. It's almost taken for granted, but tell us what it takes for a guy that size to be that strong and explosive.
Well, he has very big thighs, very thick thighs, and that's his foundation. He plants himself, but he dives in. He throws all his weight behind the punches. He really, truly hits you with 126 pounds, going at a pretty good speed. So imagine a cannonball flying at that speed. It would do some damage. He does some damage.
So where does he get it? He gets it from his legs? Is it timing? Is it speed?
It's a very, very wonderful combination of all of those things. He has good, strong, solid legs. He's well built from the waist down. Strong foundation. But his timing is excellent. His reflexes are, I mean, they're just super. I can't imagine. He jumps in and out of punches so quickly. It's almost amazing. He times people well. His speed is also good. Put it all together at the same time. Trouble.
Well, Tom Johnson wanted to get out of here fast, so he went straight to his dressing room, while on the other hand, Prince Naseem Hamed, he really relishes Bobby in the limelight. He's talking to our broadcast colleagues, our partners from B-Sky View TV, and it's amazing. Fans are trying to get to Naseem. They're trying to climb almost over us. We'll be chatting with the Prince in just a couple of minutes as the fight doctor is standing by with that. But Naseem, who loves the spotlight, loves the limelight, and he is sitting there and chatting with the crowd, as you can see. Where does this leave Tom Johnson right now, Bobby?
Well, Tom Johnson has had a long run at it, and certainly in the lighter weights, the older you get, the wear and tear on your body takes its toll much more quickly than some of the bigger guys. So he may, in effect, relax and call it a day.
Okay, this was quite a night here in London. Right now, let's take a look at the highlights. There were a total of 3 World Championship fights, and it all got underway with the WBC Super Middleweight Championship. Robin Reed versus Giovanni Pretorius. Reed, the local product, and Pretorius out of South Africa. Bobby, we'll let you take us through these highlights.
Well, you know, he was real sharp with his punches, was Reed, and Notorious, as much as he was courageous, he was also sloppy defensively. He got a lot of punches, and he just kept getting hit with them. Here you see again, another big right hand over the top, drives him into the ground, drives him into the ropes, and that eventually sets up the coup de grace. He gets caught on the way in with the timing shot, and you'll see him run into a right hand right here. And you know, he's trying hard, but he's doing sloppy. Bang, the right hand's going to come. He sets on it, and that's the end of the fight right there.
That was at 2:10 of round number 7, officially in the books, a TKO for Robin Reed, his first defense of the title. Here's Collins versus Selye for the WBO Super Middleweight Championship, round 2.
Well, I think that this is probably where the cut open, the right hand, and right there you'll see Selye, he wipes at his forehead as if something's there. You can't see the blood from here, but then later on, that cut's wide open, and he starts getting hit with his big right hand, the big left hook. The blood is now coming out from several different cuts, and the power, the body shots, too strong, too accurate, was Steve Collins.
And the stoppage of the fight. Now in the main event, it was Johnson versus Hamed.
Now here you see him flipping over the ropes. He is absolutely in no fear of a camera or a microphone. He loves what he does, and he loves to be on.
And we'll open up the highlights with round 3. Bobby, Hamed stunning Coco.
He was in the zone here. You see him cleaning up on Tom Johnson. Tom is having trouble. He's squaring off in the ropes, and the timing of Prince Naseem's punches is so great. His speed, and again, he delivers with it. You see him deliver in. He leaps in here, and this was where he got caught being sloppy leaping in. Tom finally did catch him a little bit, but it was far too little and certainly not enough, and not anywhere near what was necessary. That right uppercut, again, he dove into it. It was so beautiful. You see him rip up into Tom Johnson, and Tom was collapsed.
That was the end of the fight. And the referee, Rudy Battle, stepped in to stop the fight. It has quieted down considerably here now at the London Arena in the Docklands, the East End. Many of these fans, if not all of these fans, will go home with big smiles on their faces because their prince was certainly not a pauper. He was king for a night.
And they should. He performed very well, Steve.
And let's go to the fight, Dr. Bobby, who's standing by with the prince.
Right now, here, guys.
All right, another spectacular night from the Prince. I must say I didn't expect you to have that easy a time. It wasn't easy, but what do you think of Tom?
It wasn't easy, but Tom Johnson's a brilliant, absolutely brilliant fighter, great technician. And what can I say? You've seen a better man in there take him out. I mean, there's been fighters out there that have put him down, but there's not been fighters that have took him out like I did.
Also, he hit you with some crowning shots, so it looked like you were going to go down. Did those hurt?
Brilliant shots, of course. I mean, I didn't feel them. It looked like they hurt, but obviously I went down. I was off my feet now and again, but it's a true champion what can take the shots, get up, steady his feet, you know, think of God on his side and carry on and take him out, and that's what I did.
You started the fight in Prince fashion in that you felt him out, and it looked like you were going to just take him out because you got him in such trouble in round 3 or so, and then you didn't quit. It's sort of like you lost interest for a while. It was like you were just dancing around, and then you came on real hard.
I don't lose interest. End of the day, if you saw the last 2 rounds of the fight, I mean, I was taking my time and picking my shots and realized that it was too good to just to try and run in and walk over him because he's a brilliant technician, a brilliant fighter. But when I planted my punches right and I stepped in, you know, my balance is great. It's great balance, and the punching power is unbelievable. You've seen it for yourself. I've got a gift from Allah, a gift from God, and nobody can take that off me, and I'll just keep winning and keep taking the belts.
Well, you're an unusual fighter, I'll say that. I don't think I've ever seen anybody throw punches from the angles you do, and your reflexes are so sharp. I don't think that the defense is so sharp because of your reflexes. It's very difficult to hit you. Who in the heck can give you a good fight? You're coming to America. Who's next? Who's going to give you any kind of a fight?
I'll fight any of them. I'll fight absolutely any of them. There's brilliant fighters out there that are going to give me a fight, but I know I'm destined to be a legend, and it's a matter of time before I be a legend, you know. I mean, I've got to defend a lot of titles and become...
Tell you, the guy that's cooking that pie in the oven is Mr. Frank Warren here, who's been saying that you're a great fighter. And now, Frank, you, licking your chops, as I'm sure you must, are looking at America and thinking, we got a pot of gold here. Where are we going with this great prince?
Well, we're gonna sit down. We're going to talk next week and make our decision. But of course, we'd love to go to the States. I've been talking to Don about it. And we may go on the Tyson card. We don't know, but we're going to think about it. The facts of the matter, he definitely is going to have a fight in the States soon. But he's also going to start. We're also going to base him here. I mean, he is a British fighter. The British fans come out and forced to see him, and we respect him for that. They've been there from the beginning.
Well, give us a little share of that.
Of course, we would be lovely to come to the States, and we're going to do it.
If you have to pick between Letterman and Leno, which way are you going to go?
Well, I'll tell you what, either of them are doing. They probably do both of them in the same night. What belts do they hold?
All right. it's nice to see a new face on the scene come and burst with the explosive you have, and let's see if you can keep it up, because fighting's a long, hard road.
It definitely is, and obviously I'll be in America soon. I'll be showing my talents in America, and I just can't wait to come over there and show the Americans who the best fighter in the world is, the best featherweight in the world. I'll take all the belts. Soon come, inshallah, later.
Thanks for your support. Right.
All right, thank you very much, and back to Steve Albert at ringside with Bobby Chess.
All right, Ferdy, thank you very much. If only the Prince would learn to open up. Just get a little more confidence. But he wants to become undisputed champion in all kinds of weight divisions. He wants to move up to 168 and eventually get 4 championship belts. Believe it or not, he wants to move up to super middleweight. Bobby is in disbelief over that, 168 pounds. We'll see what happens. Well, 1997 is already shaping up as an interesting year here on Showtime. Let's fill you in on what's coming up in our next installment of Showtime Championship Boxing. On Saturday, February 22nd, Showtime Championship Boxing presents the WBA Super Middleweight Championship from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Champion Fabulous Frankie Lyles defends his title against Ecuador's Segundo Mercado. See the action at this special time of 9 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on Showtime. So here at the London Arena, we saw Prince Naseem Hamed come through with a stoppage against Tom Boom Boom Johnson. Bobby, your final comments and speculation on the future. First of all, let's go back a bit on the super middleweight division.
Well, as goes Roy Jones these days, goes the super middleweight division. He can make it a great rivalry, round robin, if you will. He's got to get Frankie Lyles in there, and he has to get Steve Collins in there. Tough kid who I think has paid his dues, has beat the likes of Chris Eubank twice, Nigel Benn twice. He showed that he's willing to do it twice. So I think that fight with Roy Jones would be a great fight. That's where the future lies. Unless Roy Jones moves up, fights Virgil Hill, then they're still looking for the marquee value name in the super middles. It's always been a tough division to sell.
And the featherweights, Prince Naseem Hamed says from this point on he wants to fight only championship fights, looking to clean up the featherweight division. Wilfredo Vasquez, Luis Espinosa, they're out there.
I'm sure Vasquez would be very, very willing to meet him. The price will probably be right because of the amount of hoopla around this guy. He brings the people out in droves, whether you love him or you hate him. You got to respect him. He gets the job done, Steve.
And Tom Boom Boom Johnson, is it about time after 10 years at 126 to move? If he doesn't retire, which I don't think he will, he can bounce back from this, but should he move up in weight? Would that be easier on his body at this point?
It's sometimes difficult for the lighter weights to carry on into later years. You know, George Foreman does it at 46, 47, but that's given 10 years off, and he's a huge man. He's had a great career. He's had a great run at it. Terrific champion. He may move up and feel more comfortable. I don't know. He's been comfortable where he is. You can't mess with success.
Yeah, congratulations to Tom Johnson. Despite the loss here tonight, he has had a fabulous career. Let's take a final look at the results of tonight's World Championship triple header. In the opening bout tonight, Robin Reed and Giovanni Pretorius for the WBC Super Middleweight title. It was Reed by TKO round number 7 to retain his championship. In fight number 2, it was Irish Steve Collins. The crowd loved him as he defeated Frederic Sellier of France for the WBO Super Middleweight belt. TKO round number 5 for Irish Steve Collins. And in the main event you just saw, the Prince prevailed. Prince Naseem Hamed fought Tom Boom Boom Johnson for unification of the IBF and WBO featherweight championships. It was Prince Naseem Hamed over Tom Johnson. Technical knockout in round number 8. That'll do it for this special overseas edition of Showtime Championship Boxing. See you again February 22nd from Fort Lauderdale for Lyle.
Well, we're ready for our main event.